gag. I'm trying to think of how I start off with that. Well, I know that I already spoke with a friend tonight and saying I watched last night's Simpsons episode, and I was surprised that there were still more records for them to break. And I found out, yes, that there is another one. More episodes than Gunsmoke, and the next episode means they'll finally have it. It's like, oh, okay.
Wow.
And I'm still blown away about how popular The Simpsons is, and the longevity of it as well, because I'm old enough to remember it being the cartoon before the commercial on Tracy Ullman 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. As a history major, we celebrate anything that stands the test of time, because not everything will. All right. Normally I don't rely on notes, but I have some really good lines that I saw from test scoring, and I just wrapped up a 7-week test scoring project as of Friday. Bill Cosby had that show, Kids Say the Darndest Things, and I'm finding that out from test scoring. Some of the things I wrote down that blew me away that some of these 8th graders from Florida said. Screaming through your pillow because you're a teen and life sucks. Well, sometimes life continues to suck even after you're done being a teenager. I should know. 99% sure this essay sucks. It's like, oh, all right. He said that at the end. At least he's honest about it. Next one is bunch of bull shrimp. I guess that's kind of swearing without actually swearing. I know that people have variations of that all the time. I remember knowing a gay man in suburban Chicago that would say cheese and bread all the time, and I guess that was his way of swearing. Let's see. Sleeping on sidelines, drooling on soccer balls. Yeah, I guess I can't unsee that one after he's given me that mental picture. Imagine you're a 14-year-old middle school girl. Sorry, I can't do that. There are probably laws against me even imagining that. Let's see. And then the last one is like trying to teach a cat to spell. Time-consuming and pointless. Well, I have talked about some things related to cats, but not that one. I know I talked about being in my longest dating relationship, which was over 2.5 years, and all the others failed in 2 months or less. And I said, you can't walk a cat like you can walk a dog. And I think I said that in reference to my relationship where she was trying to make me do things that just weren't possible. Well, in some ways, we might have went out with a bang because there was plenty of food on the last day besides just the candy, like the fun-size Hershey bars, because our moderator brought in cookies, and I had some cookies. It's like, why not? In some ways, that unfortunately reminds me of when I was doing call center work, when I was working for an ex-Montgomery Ward business, and the day after they filed for bankruptcy and were going to close up for good in late 2000, we were lit up like a Christmas tree with calls. People were afraid that their life insurance policy was no longer any good because it was sold in the Ward stores. And they ended up giving us pizza because they knew that we'd get inundated with calls. And we were for a while, and we had to keep telling them, GE bought your policy, you're fine. And I hope to be back at work with the same place pretty soon because I accepted another project which will start in a week from now. So hopefully I won't get too antsy or anything like that or stir crazy because I only expect this vacation to last 1 week this time. Last time it lasted a lot longer. So yeah, I guess we're caught up on that one with the test scoring stories. And of course, I'm still finding fun things to do. Like this weekend, I went to the Iowa-Minnesota baseball game. Well, one of them anyway. And they moved 2 of them to the Twin Stadium, and I went to the one that was there on Saturday. And when I was leaving, I said to one of the ushers who was waving at us, saying, well, I'll probably be back for a Twins game next month. I didn't know what else to say as a parting shot with that one. And I'm aware that college baseball doesn't interest most people, but it's still kind of sad to see the small crowds at those games. Where I was expecting to be under 1,000, and that's what I said on Facebook, but I found out from the box score that they had on the Gopher website that it was actually just over 1,300. That still looks really small at the Twins Stadium, which seats something like 40,000. But I like sitting a lot closer in seats that were would probably be $100 for a Twins game. What's not to like about that? Because it's a lot easier to hear the sights and sounds of a game when you're sitting that close. Like when a Gopher batter struck out, and then he said to the umpire, "No way," or hearing the ball land in the catcher's glove. Like at a major league game, when you're close enough, and you just hear it explode in there because it can be going close to 100 miles an hour. I don't know if college pitchers can pitch that fast. Maybe some of them can. So yeah, that was cool to do that. Prove how much I love baseball. And I guess another way of saying that is I ended up finding 18 baseballs in my apartment, and there's probably a few more too. And I'm willing to buy a lot of them, and only 4 of them are game used. All from minor league games. Easier to get it because you got less competition, smaller crowd. And I went to the MSP Film Fest this weekend, and oh, that was a real treat because of who I saw in the front row, because there's a documentary about the Michigan State football team in the 60s, and one of those players became a Minnesota Viking, and the filmmaker was that player's daughter, Gene Washington's daughter. And there was a Vikings fan in the front row, and he was all decked out in his Vikings garb. He had the horns on, he had a jersey, and then he had, a shield or breastplate or something like that that was Vikings themed as well. It's like, good, you're representing your team. And of course, even getting to see who was there was a treat, because Mike Max from WCCO was there as the moderator, and then Carl Eller, another Viking, was there besides Gene Washington himself. So yeah, that was pretty cool that I got to experience that. And then I did the Fringe Unified auditions, and after that I did an interview because somebody was doing a podcast about Fringe. It's like, yeah, I'll talk about the craft. Why not? Because I've learned a lot from doing stand-up for 10 years, almost 10. So yeah, I'm active, and that's better than not being active. So there we go. I think you've been great.